So here we are. Here we are. Welcome to my new space, our new space together. And so lovely. Thank you for inviting me to continue to be with you all online. And this is cool because we can be together anytime. And you can do these classes all week long, right? So it could be your Monday night ritual as usual. And yeah, any night or like any morning that you need it this week, it's here for you. I'm going to keep these videos up on the YouTube channel through the week, and then I'll put in a fresh one every week too. So let's get started on our backs, right? So quick little note for props. Tonight, or whenever you're doing this, it's a bolster, 2 blankets, and 2 blocks, right? So coming to lay on your back, and we'll start with the feet flat on the floor, and your hands might land here on your body somewhere, or your arms might be spread out to the sides or overhead, whatever feels natural. And you're just taking these first few moments to connect with your breath. If your hands are on your body, you might feel your abdomen or your chest kind of rising up into your hands. And if your hands are spread away from the body, you're just tuning into the sensation of breath as it moves through your rib cage. Good. And so we'll start with just a little bit of fluidity before we come into our longer holds. All right. So we'll just begin by taking our right knee into the chest, and you might fold and interlace the hands on top of that shin, or you might interlace underneath the hamstring if that feels better. Right. So it's just a gentle press and a softening of this hip crease, front side of the hip. And you might kind of move the knee from side to side, left to right. You might move that knee in a little circle. And so really aiming to start this process of hydrating the joints, making the body a happier place to live in, especially if this is the end of your day when you're doing this practice. All right. From here, we will interlace behind the back of the leg, interlacing along the hamstring, and then just do a flex of the foot, and then start to extend through your heel. Your leg may or may not become straight. That's not really the point. It's just to get a little extension of the leg. Point the toe and re-bend the knee. Exhale, flex, extend the heel up toward the ceiling. Point the foot and re-bend. So just a little bit of dynamic movement, opening up the back line of the leg. And last one. Beautiful. Reset that foot down, and we'll do the same thing on the left side. So here you are with an interlace of the hands on top of the shin or behind the hamstring. Right? And here we are before we start moving Just allowing the arms to become heavy, allowing the leg to become heavy, and that hip flexor, that hip crease to become soft. And trying to undo all of that tightening of the abdomen that happens all day long with all of the different things that we do. Really let those inhales move down into your lower abdomen, creating that space. All right. And then that knee, if you haven't already started, can move a little bit from the left to the right. Or you might move with the hands still interlaced. You might move the knee in a circle. Just kind of isolating this movement on the left side. If you're circling, go the other direction. Soft abdomen, hydrating the joints. All right. Coming back to center, hands interlaced behind the back of the leg. And we'll flex, extending the heel up toward the ceiling. Point the toe and re-bend the knee. So just creating that space through the feet, articulating through the foot, heel up toward the ceiling, opening up that calf, back of the knee, point the toe, re-bend. So just dynamically a few more times like this. Point and flex. And we'll move into our last one. Flex and point. Beautiful. If you have things to the side, props and things to the side like I do, just move them for the moment and drop both knees into the chest, both arms spreading out to the sides. And then we'll just do a little twist to the side, but a little fun addition is you'll let the knees hover. Let the knees hover off of the floor just a few inches. Exhale the knees back to center and off to the other side. Let the knees hover. Exhale to center. One more time to the left. And to the right. Good. Place both of the feet down onto the floor and just pause. Feeling into the lower back. Good. From here, we'll roll off onto the side and we'll come around to hands and knees. So just a little bit more movement. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we'll do our little thing to warm up through the spine. Inhale, release the belly, open up through the chest. And then exhale, press through the hands, round through the spine. Good. Inhale to open the front side of the body, arching the back. Exhale, round through the spine. Inhale to open, release. Exhale as you round the spine this time, float all the way back to child's pose just for a moment. And inhale forward. Exhale back to child's pose, rounding the spine, pressing all the way back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And inhale back forward to hands and knees. And we'll bring our blocks around to frame the front edge of the mat. And we'll begin by bringing our right foot forward. I'm just gonna scoot myself back. Good. So right foot forward, our blocks are stacked on either side of this front foot. And you can tuck the back toes under or let the top of the back foot be free. And if that back knee is sensitive, you can always layer up a blanket underneath it. So we're beginning with a little dragon lunge. So one of our longer holds, not too terribly long, but just beginning to drop into, again, that back hip flexor, and also softening the hip flexor in the front. So can you root into and soften that front foot, and also doing the best that you can to soften the front of the right hip. Inhales moving all the way down, all the way down, all the way down into the lower abdomen. Exhaling to soften through the shoulders, to soften the sides of the neck. Very easy for the mind to travel in one direction or another, especially while doing a little bit of a more difficult hold like this. So can you continue to return to the breath as it moves through the body right now? You also have permission anytime to exhale through your mouth, right? It helps to kind of move the energy that's being released. And not just released, but like it just kind of moves the stagnant energy that is being stirred up, kind of helps the process of that leaving the body. 5 more full rounds of breath in this shape. All right, at the bottom of that 5th exhale, take the next inhale to press down through that front foot, lengthen out the forward leg, and just do a little dynamic bend and a lengthening of this leg here. Just a little bend and a little lengthen. Just kind of coming out of it gently. Right? And then from here, re-bending the forward knee, and then take that leg back And to rebound out of this one, you can take a child's pose, or you might want to take a down dog after that one, tucking the toes under, walking the feet forward a little bit, and just letting your spine return to a symmetrical place after being in an asymmetrical pose for a little bit of time. Just taking a few more rounds of breath here. Beautiful. From here, we'll release out of whatever pose you were rebounding in, and we'll do that same dragon lunge with the left leg forward this time. Okay, so taking that left foot forward, and this side, as always, may need something a tiny bit different. So if that's the case, definitely pad under the knee if it needs it. Both blocks, one block is coming to the left side, one block to the right. And these blocks are their support. They're support for our hands so that we don't have to work so hard to hold ourselves up. We can kind of release the weight down into the arms. You can have those back toes tucked under or be relaxed on the top of that foot. And you can wiggle that knee back. The further back you wiggle that knee, the more intense this posture is going to be. So figuring out a nice midpoint for the placement of that back knee, and begin to settle into the pose. So we do that by tuning into the actual like weight of the pelvis, dropping down, dropping down. Using your breath, the sound of your breath, the texture of your breath, the sensation of your breath as it's moving through your body right now. Using this as the focal point so that your mind can continue to come back to what it is that you're doing here. So not getting lost in all the details of your day, not getting dragged into the future or into the memories of the past, but just staying right here. This is the practice. Can you continue to locate a softness in the shoulders? As much as possible, a relaxation through the sides of the neck. Sometimes this can become intense very quickly. And with these yin postures, moving toward sensation is it's one of the goals, actually, to start to really unpack that fascia, that connective tissue that gets bound together in all of these layers from repetitive movement and stress and things like this. So it requires this amount of time in the pose to start to open and break some of that up. So this is definitely the more intense side for me. So just doing your best to maintain a level of presence, connection. This is why we come to do our yoga, is to really be here. Three more full rounds of breath. Stay here. Good. And gently beginning to press down into the front foot, to press down into the hands, to start to lengthen out the forward leg and re-bend and lengthen. So just a little dynamic movement, forward and back, forward and back. All right, re-bending the forward knee again, taking both of the blocks to the sides, and then take that forward foot back, and you can come back into a child's pose or a down dog. Good. If you're in down dog, bringing the knees back down to the floor. If you're in child's pose, shifting the weight back forward to hands and knees. And we're gonna come on forward into Sphinx pose. Right. So coming forward onto the belly. And we're right here with the elbows underneath the shoulders. And you can always take, just like we've done this together before, you can take an interlace of those fingers in the front. And then with the legs in the back, you know, you can have the legs a little bit closer together, or you can kind of tuck the toes and widen the legs to mat width apart. And Sphinx pose is an interesting one because we don't want to slump into it. And what that requires is to press down through the forearms and down through the elbows and even down through the outer edges of the hands, so that we maintain an openness through the chest as much as possible. Probably at multiple points during this posture, might have to recommit to the pressing down of the arms. As we engage with this posture just a little bit longer, can we tune in with all those little muscles along the jawline. Can we relax the tongue? And if the eyes are open, can we soften the gaze? One more thing to notice is if you're gripping the muscles of the abdomen or the pelvic floor. And you let every inhale come all the way down into the lower abdomen and spread out through the pelvic floor. Good. And taking the next exhale to release the elbows and the forearms out further in front of you, creating a little pillow with your hands, stacking the forehead on top of the hands, and also draw up. We'll begin with the right knee. So just draw the right knee out to the side like a little frog leg. And just rebounding after that hold in Sphinx pose. You can draw that right leg back and do the same thing with the left leg, just a little bend out to the side, resting your forehead or the side of the head on that little pillow that you've created with your hands. Beautiful. You can press down through the forearms to lift up through the chest and the head. Release that left leg back. Take the palms to either side of the chest. Press up. And we're just going to reach for, well, actually, yeah, let's reach for our bolster. Lay it out horizontally along your mat here, and we're going to come into a supported bridge pose. And that may feel nice to take that with your blanket as support under your head. So coming on into it however you like. I like to sit on the edge of my bolster, kind of scooch down and just lean back. So getting out all the little wiggles that you might need to. Adjusting the width of your feet. Generally speaking, the wider the feet are, and especially if you allow the knees to knock together, they may not touch. But when the knees, or the thigh bones rather, internally rotate, helps to widen out the lower back. But if it feels like too much effort for the legs to be in that position, it's all good. You can just have the feet parallel. And here we start to bring our attention into our lower back and just let all of the muscle, all of the bone, just all of that density, let it fall backward. Relaxing through the lower abdomen. Softening through the jaw. Taking a few more full rounds of breath in this shape. To exit this posture, press down firmly into your feet, lift your lower back, slide that bolster off to the side, and just let your back return to the floor. And bask in that sensation of all that newfound space and freedom that you didn't quite have before in the lower back. Full exhale and draw both of the knees into the chest and bring both of the knees off to one side. This time the knees will come all the way down and you'll be in a nice reclined twist. Not too long of a hold in this one, just sort of an extension of a rebound. Calm, smooth, easy inhales moving into the rib cage. And complete exhales moving through the abdomen. Wonderful. Inhale and draw the knees back to center and off to the opposite side. So this side might feel a little different than the other. Maybe it's a little bit stickier. Maybe you've got a little bit more freedom and range of motion in the twist on this side. And those are just things to notice, not to dwell on. We're just returning our attention back to the breath as it's moving through the body right now. Good. Inhale the knees back up to center. You might give them a little squeeze. And then we'll roll off to the side and press ourselves back up just to check out where we're going next. Supta konasana, probably one that we know and love. So you'll take one of your blankets and create a nice little roll, right? And place that at the top side of your mat, just so that we have a little elevation for our bolster. And you can you can stack as much support as you need to underneath this to create the level of wedge that you want, that feels good for your lower back. And then of course we'll take our handy dandy blocks, and this is the one where we rest our lower back up against the short edge of the bolster, and our legs are in a diamond shape in front of us. So soles of the feet together, knees apart, and our outer parts of the knees are supported by the blocks. So this one we know and love, right? We've done this together a lot. So we can take our hands behind us and kind of pick up through the seat, through the lower back, to lengthen all of that out before we lean it back. And so do take the first, minute or so to really make this a comfortable experience for yourself. So adjusting the height of things, if you need a blanket on top of you. Whatever it is that you need, again, to make this a comfortable place to be. If the mind is wandering, anchor it back to this body, this moment. The relaxation of the facial muscles, the contents of your mouth, lips, teeth, tongue, root of the tongue. Shoulder heads melting backward, open through the chest. Soft abdomen. taking an inhale and an exhale. Good. And from here, begin to support the outer legs with your hands as you draw the inner legs back together. We'll step the feet in a little bit more, shift the hips off to one side. And we're going to come into our twist here with the bolster. So you just turn yourself around. And you're right, you should be right here already. So you don't have to have the knees stacked. You can lengthen a leg back or lengthen a leg forward. However you want to place the legs is great. And we're framing the bolster with both of our hands. Feeling that the pelvis start to tilt forward, lengthen out through the abdomen and through the chest. And lay it down. Again, if you need more height, you can add it underneath. And just rest the head to the side. On your next inhale, beginning to slide the hands back closer to the legs. Press down through the palms to find the lift through the torso. And we'll begin to shift around to the other side. Same thing, gathering up the outer part of the thigh / hip up against the short edge of the bolster, placing the legs in whatever way feels supportive. That'll support the twist and also all parts of the spine, right? And then to inhale and feel the pelvis tilt forward, lengthen through the abdomen, lengthen through the chest, lay it all the way down, turn the head to the side. Shoulders relaxing down the back right from the get-go. On your next inhale, beginning to slide the hands back closer to the legs, lifting through the torso. And it's Savasana time. And we're in a different environment now. So if you have access to a wall, you could take your legs up the wall for your final rest. If you are in your living room, you can take your legs up the couch. Or if you're in your bedroom, you could take your legs up the bed, right? Resting the calves on top of, the bed or the couch, right? On top of that cushion. If you don't want the legs to be elevated, you could certainly take apart this structure, maybe leave a blanket as support under the head. So if you prefer to be reclined without any elevation, you can take a bolster or a rolled blanket under your knees, just as some additional support. Maybe your other blanket goes on top of you. We're just setting ourselves up for a nice little rest. So just taking the next few moments to make all of your final adjustments. If you moved over to the wall or over to the bed or the couch, or you could even take your legs up the chair, if you wanted to experience that. And now's the time where we just start to settle. We settle into the position that we've taken. And can we tune our attention back into relaxed facial muscles, melting any tension around your eyes. Any tension along the inside of the mouth, lips, teeth, tongue, jawline. So no effort moving through the facial muscles at all. Just let everything be slack. Feel a sense of ease moving through your chest, freedom around the heart. Soft abdomen, receptive to the breath. Just let yourself be here. Let yourself rest. Nothing to do, no one to be, no role to fulfill. No agenda. Taking a deep breath in now. And release. Little bits of movement return to the fingers and to the toes. As you're ready, you'll start to roll off onto one of your sides and pause in a loose fetal position. And then you'll make your way back up to a comfortable seat. So whenever you arrive, really simply, as we always do, take the palms of the hands together in front of the heart and bow the chin into the chest to seal in all of the benefit of this practice, sealing it into ourselves so that we remember that we contain space, that we contain presence, peace, love, freedom, whatever it is that we experienced in our practice. Remembering that we contain these things so that when we go back out into the world, whenever that is, we can share these gifts with others. That's where the yoga really starts working, is in relationship. Good. On the next inhale, lifting the head, releasing the hands, and we're all done. I hope that you feel better in your body. And if you're on the Monday night vibe, sleep well. Yeah, feel free to practice this anytime during the week if you really need that little unwind and that like reset, right? Thank you so much.